Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today we are building something creepy. Halloween is approaching very quickly, and I've noticed that there's been an increase in my reverse bear trap and Venus flytrap saw builds, and I thought, what could I build that's similar to that, that's in that same kind of creepy, torture-ish type devices, and something that I haven't done from before. As I was searching through images online, I found an image of 13 Ghosts. If you'll remember, that's an early 2000s movie that's a remake of a 1960s movie. And in that movie, there are a bunch of ghosts, some of them very creepily decored and maimed. And one in particular kind of hit my prop making aha idea. The cage that the Jackal character wears in that movie. I thought maybe that's something that could be pretty simple and I could pull it off, and basically it's just repetitive cutting of strips and gluing them together. So today we are going to make the Jackal's cage from the 13 Ghosts. Let's get to building.
For the cage, I cut out 10mm EVA foam into 1-inch wide strips approximately 12 inches long. There are a total of 44 strips that make up this build. I cut a 45-degree angle on 8 of those strips on the long side. These will act as my corner pieces and also act as a framework to help me keep things relatively aligned. There are a total of 44 strips, and I rounded every single edge, carved in texture and gouges with a stone bit on my Dremel. Make sure to wear a respirator because things will get a little dusty. You'll look like a coal miner coming out of a long shift. On 8 more of the pieces, I carved a 45-degree angle inward on the 2 short sides. These, connected with the corner pieces we made earlier, will make a cube that I will be able to apply the rest of the strips to. As you work on editing the cross strips in the middle of each section, you will need to trim off a little bit of the edges so that the pieces fit inside the frame. You will do this to 5 of the sides. I used super glue for most of this simply because I thought it would be easier than trying to mark where each one crossed over at and then waiting for contact cement to dry. For the bottom where your head goes through, simply measure your opening left and cut a square to fit it. Mine was 11 inches by 11 inches, then cut out a hole big enough for your head to pass through it. Instead of being smart and just getting googly eyes, I decided to carve my rivets out of 1-inch EVA dowels. I rounded over each edge and then simply cut them off. I did this 92 times. Man, I'm a glutton for pain. The front of the cage is bent out, so all you have to do is cut the strips in the middle, use a heat gun to heat them up, and then bend them back from the center. You'll have to overbend it because when you release the foam, it's going to recoil just a little bit. For the hook and its attachment, I glued together 2 sheets of 2mm EVA and cut it out and rounded over the edges. I just free-handed it. This part will look rough anyways. Attach it to the inside with a small strip of EVA that will span the distance in the middle at the top. I added chains to mine. I'm pretty sure there aren't any on the actual prop, but I just wanted to add an extra detail and make it a little more menacing looking. These are some cheap plastic chains that I picked up at Spirit Halloween last year. Two coats of Plasti Dip for the foam and black hammered Rust-Oleum for the plastic chains. Then I coated it all with a light mixture of brown, silver, and black spray paint to give an aged metal look. For the rust, I am using Modern Masters Metal Effects. It's a 3-step process and has always given me great results. They're not a sponsor, I just really like this product. Step 1, you paint on this reddish brown primer layer. I just randomly spread it on pretty thick all over the prop. Step 2 is to add the iron paint. It actually has flecks of metal in it, which will mask the red primer. This paint has a strong smell to it, so make sure to work in a well-ventilated area. Then the last step is to spray on the solution that will start the rusting process on your iron paint. When it dries, you'll have real rust on your prop. If areas aren't rusty enough for you, you can simply go back and spray over those areas again. The variations I get with this product are way better than I could do with acrylic paints.
And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I think it turned out pretty cool. A few things I want to point out. I didn't show this, but if I was to sell this and I was trying to fit it into a specific box, this hook would obviously increase the size that I needed. So I put a little piece of metal in here, just a little piece of wire, so that I can poke it down into there so it sticks straight up like it does in the movie. Obviously, the chains, I don't know that you can really see them. And in a few images that I saw online, they had them, and in a few images that they didn't. So I guess it may or may not have those chains. I just think it adds a cool texture. The actual monster or ghost itself in the movie has straps from the straitjacket that are dangling down. I don't necessarily know if there's change or not. I'm sure I'll be told in the comments about that. But I definitely think this is a cool one for beginners to try and make because it's not necessarily a technique heavy build. It's just a repetitious build because each side has 8 strips. That's 8 times 6. You're talking math. And then the rivets. There are over 90 rivets that I had to sand. You could use googly eyes. I just didn't have them available. And I don't really like the sound that googly eyes make when you use them as rivets because they make the little clanky sound. So, yeah. Maybe you'll try and make this cage yourself and impress your friends with your restraint building skills. So much. Yeah. That's just weird. Maybe you'll get some.
Yay!
And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. Wonder what happens if I put it on. Let's test it out. What?